Cut the wrong hydrangea stem this August, and next year's flowers may disappear with it. But before you hide your pruners, that warning does not apply to every hydrangea. Bigleaf, mountain, and oakleaf hydrangeas commonly flower on old wood, while panicle and smooth hydrangeas flower on new growth. Some reblooming bigleaf varieties can flower on both. So, your first late summer job is not cutting. It is figuring out which blooming group you have. A quick identification check can narrow the field, but do not rely on one flower photo alone. Panicle hydrangeas often carry cone-shaped flower clusters. Oakleaf hydrangeas are easier to recognize when you can see their distinctive lobed leaves. Many bigleaf hydrangeas have mophead or lacecap flowers, while smooth hydrangeas commonly produce rounded clusters. Those clues are useful, not foolproof. Breeding has created many cultivars, and flower shape by itself does not always tell you the pruning rule. The original plant tag, a cultivar name, and photographs of the flowers, leaves, and whole shrub together are much stronger evidence. If you still cannot identify it, that uncertainty is a reason to postpone major late summer pruning, not a reason to guess. You can always make a more informed cut later. You cannot put a healthy stem back after it is removed. That one distinction changes almost everything that follows. On an old wood hydrangea, a green stem that looks ordinary after this year's flowers fade may still be important for next year. These plants can begin developing the flower buds for the following season in late summer. A panicle or smooth hydrangea follows a different cycle, so the same fear about old wood should not be applied to it blindly. If you are not sure what you grow, keep the healthy stems for now and identify the plant before making a major cut. Mistake number 1 is treating every cut as if it were the same kind of pruning. It is not. Removing a faded flower head, removing a clearly broken or dead branch, and shortening a healthy living stem are 3 different decisions. This matters most on hydrangeas that bloom on old wood. Once those future flower buds are being formed, a deep cleanup cut can remove more than the spent bloom you were trying to tidy up. Imagine a big leaf hydrangea with a faded mop head at the end of a healthy green stem. The flower may be finished, but that does not mean the entire stem is finished. If your goal is simply to remove the faded flower, do not use that as an excuse to shorten the whole shrub. And if you are uncertain where the safe cut is for your particular type, leaving that living stem alone is safer than making an aggressive August cut just for appearance. This is also why a blanket rule like never prune any hydrangea is not very useful. The real question is, what type of hydrangea is this, and what exactly am I about to remove? With an old wood bloomer, healthy, established stems deserve extra caution in late summer. With a new wood bloomer, the pruning framework is different, and major shaping is generally handled at another point in its cycle, rather than by copying advice meant for bigleaf or oakleaf hydrangeas. But pruners are not the only thing gardeners reach for when a hydrangea starts looking tired. Mistake number 2 is assuming that a tired-looking plant must be hungry. By August, flowers may be fading, growth may be slowing, and leaves can show brown edges or droop during hot afternoons. Those symptoms do not automatically prove that the plant needs fertilizer. If a hydrangea is already under heat or moisture stress, pushing it with fertilizer is not the first problem to solve. Start with the conditions around the roots and leaves. Has the weather been unusually hot? Is the soil drying faster than it did earlier in summer? Does the plant recover when the day cools, or does it remain limp and declining? A stressed plant may need relief from stress far more than another feeding. This distinction prevents a common chain reaction. The gardener sees a tired shrub, assumes it lacks nutrients, fertilizes it, then sees no immediate improvement and starts pruning away the ugly parts. Now 2 treatments have been applied before the real problem was even identified. In late summer, diagnosis is often more useful than doing more. Before you feed that plant, there is a much cheaper test right under your feet. Mistake number 3 is shallow watering. A quick spray can make mulch and the top layer of soil look wet, while leaving the deeper root zone much drier than you expect. So do not ask only, did I water today? Ask, did water actually reach the soil where most of the active roots are? Check below the surface rather than judging by color alone. If the soil beneath the top layer is dry, water slowly enough that moisture can move into the root zone instead of simply wetting the surface or running away. Then recheck. The goal is consistent moisture, not a permanently soggy bed. Hydrangeas do not benefit from roots sitting in saturated soil any more than they benefit from repeated shallow sips that never penetrate deeply. And avoid turning watering into a rigid national schedule. A hydrangea in Georgia clay, a shrub in a mulched New England border, and a plant growing in a hot container can dry at very different rates. Weather, soil, sun exposure, plant size, drainage, and recent rainfall all change the decision. The useful habit is to check the root zone and respond to what is actually happening there. Now we reach the part of August care that fools many people. The plant can look terrible without needing to be cut apart. This is the midsummer trap. A hydrangea can have scorched leaf edges, faded flowers, and dramatic afternoon droop after a stretch of heat. Your eye sees damage, and your hand reaches for the shears. But ugly does not automatically mean useless. A leaf with a dry brown margin may still have a large area of healthy green tissue. That green tissue can still contribute to the plant. After heat damage, stripping off every imperfect leaf or cutting the shrub back hard can add another stress at exactly the wrong moment. The plant that looks most desperate for a cleanup may actually benefit most from being given water, time, and less disturbance. This does not mean every damaged leaf should remain forever, and it does not mean every wilt is harmless. The point is to separate temporary stress from tissue that is truly finished. Look at the whole plant, check the soil, notice the time of day. Ask whether the plant perks up as temperatures fall in the evening or after proper watering. Persistent collapse, spreading symptoms, obvious stem damage, or continuing decline deserves closer investigation. One ugly afternoon is not enough information by itself. That leads directly to mistake number 4, ignoring heat stress and treating every drooping plant as though it has the same problem. Hydrangeas can lose water quickly through large leaves, especially during hot, sunny, windy conditions. A shrub can droop in the hottest part of the day even when you watered recently. That does not mean you should automatically flood it again. First, check the soil and the plant's recovery pattern. If the root zone is dry, water is an obvious priority. If the soil is already adequately moist, and the plant is temporarily wilting under intense afternoon heat, adding more and more water can create a different problem. The plant may simply be struggling to keep up with water loss during the hottest hours. Site conditions matter too. Many common hydrangeas appreciate protection from harsh afternoon sun, especially where summers are intense. Mistake number 5 is reacting to that heat damage by removing too much foliage. This is where appearance can work against good care. A leaf can be unattractive and still be useful. If most of it remains green, do not assume it has become dead weight. The same idea applies to an entire shrub. Late summer stress is not an invitation to reshape the whole plant. You can remove material that is clearly dead or broken when necessary, but avoid turning stress cleanup into a hard pruning session. Give the shrub a chance to stabilize. Keep moisture consistent. Watch new and existing growth rather than chasing every cosmetic flaw. A plant does not need to look perfect in August to be doing important work for the next stage of its season. And now, stems become the bigger decision. Mistake number 6 is cutting an ugly-looking or woody stem without first deciding whether it is actually dead, damaged, or simply mature wood. Older hydrangea stems naturally look woody. That alone does not tell you that they are useless. On an old wood bloomer, mature living stems are exactly the material you should be cautious about removing late in the season. If a stem is obviously snapped, diseased, or dead, that is different from a healthy stem that simply looks brown and woody on the outside. But if you are unsure, you do not need to solve every pruning question in August. Waiting until the plant's next growth cycle can make living and dead wood easier to distinguish, and it prevents a cosmetic cleanup from turning into an accidental loss of flowering wood. Now here is the exception that changes the entire warning. Panicle hydrangeas and smooth hydrangeas bloom on new wood. Their flowers are produced on growth made in the new season, so they do not depend on last year's stems in the same way that classic old wood bloomers do. That is why pruning advice for a bigleaf hydrangea should never be copied automatically onto a panicle hydrangea, or the other way around. This does not mean a panicle or smooth hydrangea needs an aggressive haircut in August. It means the reason for caution is different. Their main structural pruning is commonly handled while dormant or before new spring growth gets underway, depending on the type and local conditions. So if someone tells you never prune a hydrangea because you will remove next year's flowers, the statement is incomplete. You first need to know which hydrangea they are talking about. Reblooming bigleaf hydrangeas add one more layer. Some can flower from both older and newer growth, which may make them more forgiving than traditional old-wood-only types. But reblooming is not permission to cut indiscriminately. Cultivars differ, and preserving healthy stems still gives the plant more options for flowering. If you have the tag, keep it. The cultivar name can answer pruning questions that a generic label saying only hydrangea cannot. And that brings us to mistake number 7, the mistake sitting behind almost every other one in this video, treating every hydrangea the same. The same faded bloom can sit on 2 plants with different pruning needs. The same afternoon wilt can happen in dry soil or adequately moist soil. The same brown leaf edge can be mostly cosmetic on one plant and part of a larger decline on another. A useful decision comes from the type of plant plus the condition you actually see. So instead of memorizing a pile of August rules, use 3 checks. First, know the type. Does your hydrangea mainly bloom on old wood, new wood, or both? Big leaf, mountain, and oakleaf hydrangeas deserve particular caution with late summer stem pruning because of their old wood flowering behavior. Panicle and smooth hydrangeas follow the new wood framework. If you do not know your type, photographs of the flowers and the whole shrub, along with the original plant tag, can make identification much easier. Second, check the condition. Is the shrub healthy but simply finished flowering? Is it temporarily heat stressed? Is the root zone dry? Is a leaf partly scorched but still mostly green? Is a stem truly broken or dead? Or is it simply mature wood? The answer changes what action makes sense. Third, know the action. Are you removing only a faded flower, shortening a healthy stem, cutting out damage, adding fertilizer, watering the root zone, or deciding that the best action today is simply to wait? When you name the action clearly, it becomes much harder to turn a small cleanup job into unnecessary pruning. That is the real lesson of late summer hydrangea care. It is less about doing more and more about understanding what you are looking at before you act. A tidier shrub today is not worth sacrificing healthy wood or future flowering potential just because the shears were already in your hand. So before your next August cut, remember the 3 checks. Know the type, check the condition, and know the action. If you still have the plant tag, keep it. If you do not, photograph the flowers and the entire shrub while it is blooming, so you have a record to identify later. That simple habit can make next season's pruning decision much easier. And if practical, season-by-season garden guidance like this is useful to you, subscribe for the next one.